definition of meander?
To wander aimlessly with no point or purpose?
That is almost an exact quote, and I think that is what we will likely be doing tonight.
Well, we won't do it alone, shall we? Hello, folks. It is unclear thinking time. We're going to wander the muddy waters of our cerebral cortexes and see what sludge we can show to you. I am Larry Smoke, as always. That guy over there is John Bates. Say hello,
Hello,
John.
world.
Yeah. What we going to meander about there, bud?
We are going to, well, this is going to be a really kind of wandery kind of topic, but we're going to talk about things that happen in the movies and TV that never actually happen in real life. So, you brought this topic to my attention.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you brought it to my attention, it was mostly about things that people in TV and in the movies do that rarely happen in real life.
Well, I got to thinking about it because there's a little gag the wife and I have, a private joke we have whenever we're watching a movie or a television show, and you see two characters having a telephone conversation. And almost without fail, the conversation ends and one or both parties just hang up. There's no step down to the conversation and then a talk to you later, goodbye. It's just the point of the scene gets across and then click.
Right.
And nobody thinks it. And the wife and I've gotten to the point whenever we see a scene like that, one of us will turn to the other and just go, okay, bye.
Yeah. And in real life, most of the time, well, in my experience, most of the time, there's usually a good little wind down to the conversation before you even get to the goodbye. There's okay, well, all right, so we're all good on this. That's okay, fine. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
Kind of
Bye.
like three beats. It's got to be okay. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
That's right. A lead up. And you and I both have a few friends that simply seems to spark a new topic of conversation for them. All right, I'll talk to you later. Oh yeah, did I tell you this thing the other day is going to be a 20-minute conversation? And it's a 40-minute endurance trial just to get off the phone. But yeah, I've noticed in the movies they do that, and on television.
Not that we know any clingy people or anything.
No, not at all. So, what do you think is the reason in the movies and the television that they do such a thing?
That was probably just economy of screen time.
Exactly.
Don't burn any time that doesn't actively propel the plot, and the termination of a phone call, as we've just said, is usually mindless blather. It's the 30 seconds of just inane things that people say to each other to let them know they actually care, and then it wraps up. But that wouldn't propel any kind of narrative, so cut it out.
Yeah, exactly. It wastes time. It doesn't tell the story. They don't need it, so why do it? The only time you're ever going to see it is in a romantic comedy where they're simply emphasizing the fact that these people won't get off the phone with each other. No, you hang up. No, you hang. And that's the only time you're ever going to see it.
Or if getting off the phone is some emotionally distressing thing, and they hang up in one character or both characters, if it's a split screen, you can see the anguish in the face. The call had to end. Something along those lines.
Yeah, and for very similar reasons. There's always a parking spot right where you need to be in a movie and television. Doesn't matter what city, what time, where you're going, the parking spot is right there. If you're driving, you just pull right up and you get out and you walk in. In real life, you circle the block 15 times. You see if there's a garage that's within a half a mile or so. You desperately try to squeeze in. You get angry at the person who just slid into the space that you were waiting for. Yeah, that's the way real world works.
And not only do you do that in Manhattan, you do it in the smallest of towns too.
Exactly. The space is right in front of where you want to be. Somebody's already got. That's the way it works. There's only so many spaces. But once again, in the movies, we can't waste time showing people circling the block 15 times unless it's a plot point.
Yeah, exactly. If it doesn't propel the narrative, then there's no point in having it there. Well, something that kind of tickles me, and I don't even know if this is a question of propelling a point. I think it's probably a Screen Actors Guild safety issue. But have you noticed? Well, let me back up a second. When I don't know about you, and I'm assuming I'm fairly normal in this respect, so I'll assume you do too. When you get home from work in the afternoon or whenever you get home from whatever you're doing, and you walk inside, odds are you take off your shoes. Am I right?
Yeah, I tend to. It's one of the first things I do.
Have you noticed characters on television, and I suppose in film too, but are always wearing shoes in their homes?
It
I
could be a safety
mean,
thing. It might be a thing where actors are like, I don't want to show my feet.
well, it could be that too. But I was thinking sanitary thing. But I mean, as far as realistic portrayal, you see sitcoms, all these characters wallowing around their great rooms or their bedrooms, and they're always in shod feet, and
Yeah.
that's completely unrealistic.
And plus, I think having shoes also allows them to height adjust actors, so that
I didn't think about that. Yeah, you got a
you don't
point.
get very short actors who are standing next to regular tall actors or very tall actors, and now you have a weird camera angle because you're trying to fit everybody into the scene.
Have Gillian Anderson on her Apple box standing next to David Duchovny.
Yeah, exactly. Because in the movies, women wear heels for everything.
Mm-hmm.
There are very few flats, unless that character happens to be the sort of sensible girl who always wears flats. And they're going to mention that she's the sensible girl who always wears flats. I mean, a lot of this stuff, when you think about it practically, it makes sense as to why they're doing it. And we really don't notice very often that these people do it unless someone else points it out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that whole hanging up thing that,
Mm-hmm.
that you and your wife have,
Mm-hmm.
you guys have noticed it, brought it up to each other, and now you have a thing about it,
Mm-hmm.
so you'll always notice it.
Mm-hmm.
Most people will never pay attention to that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just.
But when you notice it, it sure does take you out of the moment for a moment.
Yeah. And there are always going to be things. It depends on what your interest is. Like, say you're particularly interested in a subject. It's your hobby. It's one of those things you really know a lot about. And suddenly you see something in a television show or a movie, and they're changing something or doing something weird with it. You will notice that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's say you're a guy who shoots. Let's say you're a professional, you're a police officer, you're a soldier, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You watch a cop show, and you're watching these guys walk around with their finger on the trigger of the gun that they're holding.
Mm-hmm.
And real police officers and real military people don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Their fingers are close to the trigger, but they're not resting on the trigger
Mm-hmm.
because if they sneeze, they're going to shoot something. Or if they get startled, they're going to shoot something. And I think they don't do it so much anymore, but in the 80s, all the cops carried their guns stuck in their pants.
Yeah. Well, because that was the macho thing to do, is to risk your genitalia.
Yeah, it explains the lack of children in those movies, too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even the most inane things. I can remember probably the first thing like that I ever noticed, way back in childhood. Somebody is given a gift in a television show or movie. Yeah. And oh, wonderful, thank you, and they lift off the lid and set it to the side, and you see that the lid is separately wrapped, and the bow is run beneath the lid, and so who the hell does that? I sure don't. And my mother was I won't say professional gift wrapper. I mean, we was a gift wrapper at a local department store for several Christmases. I mean, I knew it. I've seen people that know how to wrap gifts, people, and I have never seen anybody do that.
Yeah.
But again, I'm sure it's a time-saving thing. I mean.
Yeah. Well, I guess so. But you would need a gift wrapping artist to do something like that.
But even as a child, I mean, I realized that was unrealistic and would take me out of the moment for a moment.
Yeah, but it's not seen so much anymore. Or maybe it is. Maybe it's just one of those things I overlook and don't think about. Can you think of any?
I actually I didn't even think about this when I first brought up the point, but I just remembered it. I happened to be watching the Netflix original Wet Hot American Summer prequel series yesterday, and the episode I saw, someone was given a gift, and it was wrapped like that, and the guy receiving the gift of course it's a comedy, it's supposed to be fun, but the guy receiving the gift even said, oh, how uniquely wrapped, as he lifted off the lid, and that's exactly what he was making light of.
Right. They're exploiting the trope there.
Right.
It's like those things where people drive down the street while having a conversation with the person next to them and staring at them the whole time.
Right, yeah, never looking
forward. Mm-hmm. Never looking at the road.
Because the camera truck is dragging the car anyway. So
that's helpful, yeah, that helps a lot.
But at least that's better than movies back in the 30s, 40s, 50s when you had the actors in a car on a soundstage and a rear projection behind them,
Right.
showing, you know, at least these days you've got the camera truck dragging the car. At least what you're seeing behind them is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously real, because God, that rear projection stuff, that never worked. Not in 40 years of filmmaking, that stuff never worked.
I remember watching The Big Sleep for the first time and noticing that in the background, going, "Oh yeah, that's just weird looking."
You remember?
You remember? Oh man, I can't believe I forgot this. I'm gonna be slaughtered if I don't remember the name of this movie. Bob and Doug McKenzie movie.
Strange Brew. Strange Brew.
Strange Brew. One of my favorite movies of all time. That's why I can't believe I forgot it. They actually made a point of that in the movie. And hey, did you ever notice that characters in the movies can just not look at the road while they're, and then they drove off the pier?
I do now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, on the opposite level of quality, on the waterfront, the classic, the very famous scene with Marlon Brando and, was it Carl Malden in the back of the Rod Steiger in the back of the taxi cab where Marlon Brando is giving his famous "I could have been a contender instead of a bum." You remember in that cab there was a Venetian blind behind them. So you couldn't see, and that was because that was a reshoot. That scene that they were, I don't know if it was called back, but it was the end of production, and the rear projection was not available for some reason. And I think it was Steiger told Elia Kazan, the director, I saw a Venetian blind in this cab I was in a couple of weeks ago. It would serve the purpose of not having to worry about what's behind us. And yeah, let's do it. And there you go. You've got one of the most famous scenes in movie history.
Yeah, and that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never actually seen a Venetian blind in a cab, but Rod Steiger did.
Yeah,
so
I mean, he said he saw it.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody run through the airport to stop someone from getting on a plane so they could confess love to them.
No, I can honestly say I haven't seen that either.
I've never seen anybody actually run through the airport. These days, I'm pretty sure.
I've run through an airport.
Well, I've never seen it. It seems like you wouldn't make it very far past the checkpoint.
You wouldn't have wanted to see me run through an airport. It was pretty pathetic. Oh no! Once you get past security, and if it's a big enough airport, you can run for miles. But
well, that's true. Although I think you'd still draw a lot of stairs.
Well, it was a case of getting off one flight and your connecting flight is way to hell over there, and it's leaving in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing how resilient people are on screen, because you can get into a serious bare knuckle fight with each other, last 15 minutes long, the Roddy Piper fight.
Yeah,
you're gonna end up with one little cut on your face, and rather than a busted nose, it's flowing blood profusely in both of your eyes falling shut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, film fights have never been realistic.
No, but they're not supposed to be. Well, they're supposed to be interesting, exciting, not realistic. Except maybe Rocky. Not really realistic either.
And since we've devolved to film tropes, what's got to be the biggest film trope of them all? Guys never look at explosions.
The good guys, the tough guys, never look at
the cool guys.
The bad
never
guys
look at explosions.
Always look and flinch and duck at the explosions. That's sort of how you can tell who the good guys and the bad guys are.
And it's usually at a climactic point where he's accomplished something, and it's like like a mic drop, boom, done, boom.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my slow walk in.
If I could drop this mic, I would, but I can't drop it. So.
I'd like to be able to slow motion walk in real life. I wonder if I'd look like a dork walking in slow motion, or if I could look as cool as all the people. Do you have to have training for that?
You'd look like someone doing a moonwalk backwards. Because moonwalk is backwards, but if you did it backwards, you'd be going forward. And
yeah.
But I digress. Forgive me.
Never thought of that before. All right, another favorite trope of mine.
All right.
Kill the boss, and somehow the rest of the bad guys will just kind of chill out and go away.
Melt away.
Yep.
Like snow on a warm field.
Now, it's possible that J.R.R. Tolkien set us up with this with a literary trope, because that's pretty much exactly what happened in The Lord of the Rings. They didn't just do it in the movie, but it happens a lot these days. You just kill the boss, and the rest of the guys are like, Oh, he was clearly the toughest of them all.
Mm-hmm.
If you have killed him, then surely you can kill the other 30,000 of us with no problem.
Because you took out
But,
the alpha male.
but you know, it does give us a resolution to the movie. And we don't have to go, okay, we killed this one guy. We got a freaking army left to go. We're all going to die. It just allows the good guys to win, the bad guys to lose, and that's okay. How about the resolution of marriage problems through intense crises?
Yeah, that's kind of lame.
Well, you know, Ocean's 11. They have a marriage in trouble. They pull off a magnificent heist, even though she has no part in it at all, and at the very end, he gets the girl.
But she loves him in the end for it.
That's right. Or in, what's the John Cusack movie, End of the World, 2012?
Oh, yeah.
Having a disaster. Now, to be fair, in that one, her other husband died. So, and they're one of the few people left on the face of the planet.
Kind of narrows down the competition, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the movie that took place in Denver Airport, wasn't it? Or looked like it anyway.
But you know, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock in Speed, they got together. Although apparently they didn't stay together because she was with a new dude in Speed too.
Yeah, because Keanu knew when to get out.
Apparently so. Oh, here's one I like. I'll just read it to you.
Right.
Job description: impossibly awesome killer or assassin must be prepared for high stakes, such as responsibility for the future of mankind. Ideal candidate: seeking an ex-killer who has left the business to live in self-imposed exile for years. Should be hard to track down for interview process. Professional skills should be unhoned from years of lack of practice. Mental capacity restricted from years of solitude. Age preference for the dubiously old. No other candidates, please.
Ugh.
You know, like they've got Red in here, which I quite enjoyed. That was,
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good.
And the Mark Wahlberg shooter movie.
Which I have not yet seen, but I know what it's about.
Every Rambo movie in the past decade and a half.
True, yeah.
And what was that Tommy Lee Jones movie with Benicio del Toro?
It was Javier Bardem. No Country for Old Men.
No, this was Benicio del Toro. Benicio del Toro was a guy who was trained to be a killer by Tommy Lee Jones, and then he went rogue. So the government went and tracked down Tommy Lee Jones to track down Benicio del Toro. They did a lot of knife fighting. He was a wilderness expert who could build his own knife from scratch.
That's coming back to me now. I gotta find Tommy. Thank you, IMDb. Was it The Hunted? Yes, The Hunted.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Oh, that was a Friedkin movie. How did I never see that? That's William Friedkin.
You've never seen it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, well then I highly recommend you not only watch The Hunted, but you watch Lucky Number 11.
Well, and yeah, Lucky Number 11 I just haven't caught up to. That's one. I hear it wasn't very good, but I was willing to watch it because I used to be hot for Lucy Liu.
You know, I liked it. You kind of have to take that with a grain of salt.
Well, dude.
But Bruce Willis, Gandhi. What the hell's the matter with my brain? Bruce Willis, Ben Kingsley, Morgan Freeman. That's a good cast. Lucy Liu, and I can't remember the name of the actual Slevin guy who was the main character.
Was Josh Hartnett in that? That's probably why I never wanted to see it. If he was in it, that's probably why I never want. Yeah, Josh Hartnett. That's probably exactly why I avoid it, because he can't act his way out of a paper bag.
Oh, well, he wasn't bad in that one. Maybe it's the role or something like that. But I thought it was a good movie. It's a gangster movie with an interesting twist.
Directed by Paul McGuyan. Where do I know that name from?
I don't know, but it's familiar.
Okay. Well, he did. He made 4 of the Sherlock movie / TV episodes, the BBC version, the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock. He did 4 of those. He's also just finished the Victor Frankenstein movie with James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe that I'm hearing good things about. Of course, I haven't seen it. So,
yeah, James McAvoy does a good job. So
all right, I may have to find that.
Yeah, check it out. I think you'll like it well enough. So that one and The Hunted. Stop giving each alien race an assigned personality stereotype.
Yeah, that's a science fiction trope stereotype that I always kind of wondered about. And it's true. It seems it's true of novels. It's true of movies that an alien race is homogenous. They're all one thing, and well, I should say an alien species because they all seem to be of one race. Whereas the human species is made of multiple races. We're not homogenous. There are lots of different form factors and characteristics and shapes and sizes, and yet every alien species that's come across in science fiction is all the same thing. And if it's Star Trek, it'll all be bipedal and binocular vision.
Yeah, and they all have one person. The examples they have is they show a picture of a Klingon warrior.
Mm-hmm.
They show a picture of a Hutt gangster.
Mm-hmm.
They show a picture of a... Oh, crap, I can't remember the name of this race. They were the next generation Star Trek race that I hated. Oh, the Ferengi.
Yeah.
They're all money grubber backstabbers.
Right. So who are they taking? If they all steal from each other, who's victimized?
Yeah, exactly.
I often thought that if somebody ever took over the Star Trek franchise and went into the writer's room on day one and said, okay, rule number 1, when you're creating an alien race, they will not be bipedal or have binocular vision. I wonder if production would just shut down right there.
Yeah, well, the reason that all Star Trek races are humanoids with facial features is because it's cheap.
Right, exactly. I mean, I understood it. And
George Lucas was like, I don't care. I'm going to make this one a big turd.
Mm-hmm. And say what you want about George, but he pulled it off.
Yeah, look at this one, giant head tentacles. This one's basically a walking fish. Yeah, and they had the slave women from Star Wars. They're all exotic dancers. Although a couple of them did become Jedi. Daleks are all space Nazis. Jawas are all, it says Jawas, used space car salesmen.
That's about right. Yeah. Well, for meandering, I'm sure it seems that we killed a good 20-25 minutes of movie, TV tropes.
We told them it was going to be meander.
Well, I mean, God, we could meander that kind of subject. We could meander for hours on end, and we're going to lose what little bit of audience we have out of boredom if we try that. So we'll wrap it up on that note. But folks, what are your most glaringly obvious film tropes, movie, TV eccentricities, things that really catch your eye and take you out of the moment? Tell us about them. Send us an email, unclearthinking@gmail.com. See what we're up to on Facebook, facebook.com/unclearthinking. We're on Google+, search for Unclear Thinking, you find us there. Don't forget about the website, unclearthinking.com. These articles that we reference, videos we talk about, the links will be there. There's links to find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube there, so be sure to check that out too. Twitter, you can hit us up there. I am at LA Smoke. John is at, tell him, John.
Cuhullen, Cuhullen. A
memorable handle if ever there was one. Let's go watch a movie, dude. We can kill the rest of the evening that way.
That's right. We can go collect some more tropes.
There you go. All right, next time, gang. We'll see you then.
Good night.